Stoicism is having a bit of a moment again, which is funny because it's been having a moment every week since around 2016. Right around the time a bunch of very tired men realized that they were deeply unfulfilled, did not want to go to therapy, and needed something that sounded smarter than grindset. So they did what any alienated 30-year-old with a ring light and a fragile sense of self does. They found Marcus Aurelius. Or rather, they found Ryan Holiday quoting Marcus Aurelius. So let's talk about Stoicism. Not the good kind. Not the writing in your war tent kind. I'm talking about the version peddled by YouTubers with systems for success and jawlines built by TRT. The Stoicism that gets handed out like a multivitamin for men in their 20s who just got blocked by their situationship and are now on r/the red pill asking if they should cut out all emotion. That one. If you scroll through social media, you'll find it everywhere. Crypto bros flexing their emotionless alpha mindset. YouTubers with rented Miami mansions and Lambos hawking courses. And sure, there's something seductive about it. In a world that's a relentless dumpster fire, the idea of being unbothered, of not giving a fuck is like mainlining crack. And I'm not here to tell you that Stoicism is bad. I just want to explain that the kind that you're being sold is a bootleg copy printed on the back of a protein powder label. It's a sad caricature of the real thing, stripped of nuance and context, repackaged as grit porn for the attention economy. Let's rewind a bit. The big three of Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, these mofos weren't peddling emotional repression or cold indifference. They were grappling with the brutal reality of human existence, suffering, death, powerlessness. They were wrestling with how to live a good life amid chaos and tyranny. For them, virtue was the only true good. Everything else, especially wealth, health, and reputation, was indifferent. Not because they didn't care about it, but because those externals were out of their control. Marcus Aurelius wasn't doing cold plunges to increase his resilience. He was trying not to lose his fucking mind while being emperor of a decaying empire filled with plague, betrayal, and people named Cassius. Meditations isn't a manual for bottling up feelings. It's a diary of a man desperately trying to find meaning while watching his men and his own body crumble. Epictetus, born a slave by the way, argued that we can't control what happens to us, only how we respond. But that doesn't mean shutting off your emotions and pretending that everything is okay. It means understanding the difference between what's up to us and what isn't. It's a call for radical acceptance in the face of chaos. Freedom is to wish for nothing which is not up to ourselves. Man, such poetry. Seneca, meanwhile, didn't write letters to Lucilius so his followers could start a dropshipping course. He wrote them to process his own internal chaos while living in a political system that could, and eventually did, kill him. He wrote essays about anger, grief, and how to face death without losing your mind, often reminding himself as much as his readers that pain isn't a byproduct but a staple of life. The original emo king. The real Stoics weren't trying to win at life. They were trying not to be crushed by it by embracing emotional aptitude, not repression. That's what made them powerful, and also deeply, hilariously unmarketable for today's world. Fast forward to today, the slick influencer-led Stoicism reduces all this into just don't feel bro. You see it in crypto Twitter's diamond hands bullshit. Hodl no matter what because feelings are for losers. Or in those daily affirmations that feel like performance art. I am unshakable even if my courses aren't selling as I envisioned. The pitch is if you're broke, weak, or emotionally fragile, it's your fault. Just own your shit and stop whining. Don't be soft. Be like Marcus Aurelius, except without his empathy, humility, or the awareness that he was an emperor responsible for millions. It's emotional self-destruction disguised as strength. It infantilizes complex emotions and systemic problems into personal failure. Feeling overwhelmed, it's not because society is alienating you, but because you're not stoic enough. Depression, weakness. Trauma, emotional immaturity. It's the idea that feelings are liabilities, vulnerabilities are defects, and the only way to win at life is to bottle everything up until you explode quietly in the bathroom of your local Anytime Fitness. This is where philosophy becomes a product, a brand, a cult to indoctrinate vulnerable men into. This version is tailor-made for capitalist extraction. It valorizes burnout and pretends to erase vulnerability. Why do lonely, anxious men especially fall for this cargo cult of control? Because Stoicism's promise is very simple. If you master yourself, nothing else can break you. It's a seductive narrative when your real world feels like a constant string of failures. Loneliness is a plague, especially for men in our exceedingly capitalist societies who've been told repeatedly that their worth is measured in bank balances, likes, and sexual conquest. The world is stupid, right? We're in a moment where every system is breaking, social institutions are collapsing, the algorithm controls your attention, your boss is a Slack notification without a soul, your dating life is a horror show of emojis and ghosting if you date at all, and your deepest fear is that no one's really listening, including you. The modern world offers you a choice. Either crack under the pressure or become a hardened, unfeeling machine. Enter modern Stoicism, the self-help brand that tells you to become a rock. Except it's less rock and more petrified wood. Dead on the inside but still trying to look impressive on social media. The ancient Stoics never said to be indifferent to everything. They said to focus your energy on what you can control and to cultivate virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. Real strength isn't numbness, it's coherence and engagement despite the absurdity. The man I've always looked up to the most is the anti-Stoic Stoic Diogenes. Guy gave absolutely zero fucks in a way without any detriment. Man was the original Giga Chad. He lived in a barrel, jerked off in public, told Alexander the Great to get out of his sunlight, and made a career out of weaponized irreverence. He literally carried a lantern in daylight looking for an honest man. And pissed off the entire Athenian elite doing so. He didn't optimize his mindset, he obliterated the idea that the external world had any power over internal freedom, and stripped away social pretense with brutal honesty, living with nothing, rejecting status, calling out hypocrisy wherever he saw it. He was the ultimate cynic. And yeah, the word cynic actually comes from his senpai Antisthenes, from the Greek word kynikos, which means dog-like. His life was a walking middle finger to societal norms, virtue signaling, and fake clarity. Why do I like him so much? Because Diogenes embodied a raw, unfiltered quest for truth and freedom that didn't pretend life is neat. He didn't sell you a plan or a mindset. He lived the absurdity and laughed at the whole fucking charade. That kind of radical honesty is a breath of fresh air compared to philosophical life advice now. In my eyes, Diogenes took Stoicism's core challenge of how to live authentically in a world that makes no sense and went full send. He mocked social conventions, rejected materialism, and lived his truth so unapologetically that he'd probably be cancelled in America, deported from Canada, and hung in Singapore in under 5 minutes today. His life is a hilarious and brutal reminder that finding meaning isn't about calm acceptance or quiet suffering. It's about dismantling bullshit, living raw, and refusing to give a damn about undeserved respectability. He understood absurdity not as a problem to fix, but as the condition to exploit. And that's what modern Stoicism misses. It's so obsessed with control it forgets the freedom that comes from surrender. The kind of surrender that isn't apathy but defiance. That isn't detachment but immunity. So what do we do instead? If real Stoicism is too brutal for Instagram, therapy is still stigmatized or too unaffordable for most people, and Diogenes is too naked for HR. Stop turning your suffering into content. You can process your pain without tweeting about it or posting it on TikTok with TV Girl playing in the background. Please do process it though, super important. Embrace contradictions. You can be ambitious and confused, sad and functional, kind and fed up. Don't reject Stoicism, but read it properly, read it slowly. Don't turn meditations into a bowl of cereal. Let the discomfort sit with you for a while. Understand that Marcus Aurelius spent most of meditations reminding himself to stop being a whiny bitch, not because whining is bad, but because death is coming and your feelings, although very real, do not change that. It was never about the right thing to do for the general man, and always about giving himself notes on how to be better at this. Realize that Epictetus said to focus only on what's within your control, and what's within your control is terrifyingly small. Like your thoughts small, not your business, not even your abs for the most part. Not your 10-year plan, just your damn thoughts. Actually pull a Marcus and write your own meditations. Sleep on the floor once in a while if you'd like, but also remember to live. Cry, laugh, jerk off, watch Chibidoki, touch grass. And maybe, just maybe, be a bit more like Diogenes. Ask fewer people for advice. Laugh more at shit that sucks. Don't be afraid to call bullshit on the gods, the markets, or the algorithm. Learn that self-respect doesn't come from other people clapping, it comes from looking at the circus and saying, nah, I'll be over here pissing on the tent. And above all, if somebody says they found the way to win at life, check if they're selling something. They probably are. Modern Stoicism is hollow because it confuses endurance with emptiness. It forgets that real virtue includes softness, mess, contradictions. It forgets that stillness is earned through confrontation, not avoidance. You don't become stoic by numbing out. You become stoic by staying awake even when you want to disappear. Sometimes the most stoic thing you can do is to stop pretending to be stoic and just sit in the sun with a shit-eating smile.